Hello, guys. I am Shane Davis, 20-year comic book veteran. I'm here with a beautiful, lovely, sometimes she has been known to make this here man a sandwich, wife of mine, light of my life, Yanzi Lynn. And today is the day we are here to talk about we're furthering down the path of madness that Mark Brooks goes on. So let's get into it. So Mark Brooks, no friend of this here channel, has taken previous shots at people within Comicsgate and people within the independent comic book industry. I wouldn't call it an industry, the community. Community is a better word. And now, before we get into it, please look down below, hit like, subscribe, ring that bell for notifications. So the short of it is, I guess it started with Brooks saying comics were for everyone, even Comicsgate. And then he had some night letters, and then he's been anti-CG ever since. And sometimes not making very much sense, attacking wives of CG, whatever. A lot of people in the community, especially in comic books YouTube, have even frowned upon some of the remarks he makes. Now, why he sits around all day and thinks about CG, I have no idea. Even after blocking me, Mark Brooks then proceeded to fish around in my comments, and then I eventually had to block him. I don't go around blocking people on Twitter that much. But yeah, he's very obsessed with the community. Is it the success some campaigns are bringing? I have no idea. I've had limited interactions with Mark before in the past. I used to think highly of him as an artist. I really don't think very highly of someone that speaks of my wife.
Well, the way he speaks about me, though, it seems like he's pretty obsessed with all the women of CG. I mean, look, Mark, if you're not getting the love you need from your wife at home, it doesn't mean you can go after other people's wives for it. But anyway, so he's here following a certain account that just really likes to take dunks on us, even though they're not really dunks. So this is Shane posting some model sheets for the Rexes in Inglorious Rex. And that account decides to say, first, Chung Lee. By the way, yeah, fake fan much, Chung Lee. Now Seamus, because orange and green is totally a copyrighted color scheme that everyone is supposed to respect and stuff. And Mark Brooks goes, I'm trying to figure out why every mainstream artist turned CG seems to regress in quality and skill when they join that stupid movement. It seems to go hand in hand every time. Well, first of all, Mark, those things are called model sheets. If you have designed anything original in your life, you know that model sheets are not rendered to, the same extent as an interior page. But then again, you haven't done interior pages too, so I'm not sure what we're arguing at this point. So this is what Mark was talking about. And someone was like, they thought that he was referring to Dale Keown. So they put up a Dale Keown page and asked him, tell me what's wrong with this drawing or how the quality has gotten worse. So this is a Dale Keown Salamandroid page, I'm assuming here. And Honey, would you like to read what Mark Brooks' critique is on this page?
He goes, there's no focus. It's over-rendered within an inch of its life, and I can't tell what the hell is going on. It's Dale, though somehow it's still good.
So that's his way of saying, I'm going to dunk on this because it's CG, but gosh darn it, it's Dale Keown. It's legendary Dale Keown, so I must still say it's good because maybe someday I want Dale to mentor me or something.
I'm not even sure he meant it that way. I think in a way he's telling the people that it's still going to somehow be, you consider it good just because it's Dale Keown, not because the work itself is good. I can't tell if he was complimenting Dale there at the end, which is a backhanded compliment if he was, or if he's mocking the person for liking it just because it's Dale Keown.
Well, first of all, I want to say this is actually a very good piece by Dale, you see. What Dale did over here is that he has all of these Vespers framing the main characters. You can see this frame is happening here. Mm-hmm. And your eye, inevitably, once it's colored, it's going to go to the yellow of Cyberfrog's eye. And of course, it's going to pop up too because Salamandra is blue and Cyberfrog is green. So these two characters will definitely pop once the colors go in. A black and white piece is generally very hard to critique and say there's no focus because guess what? The colorist is going to do some work to pull the eye where it should go. Now, you want to talk about a finished piece, though, that has no focus? So Mark, he says, there's no focus. Now, tell me, dear, where is the focus in this piece again? I mean, right. I'm looking at this piece, and it seems like every single character is given the same amount of color saturation. There is no so-called pulling the composition together to point at any one specific direction. I mean, yeah, maybe you have these two characters here kind of like framing this thing. Maybe, I don't know. But you look at it down here, it's like, wow, it's just...
Well, and again, going back to the Dale Keown piece, I mean, Dale was, framing things with extreme foreground, middle ground, background. Whereas there's no depth in the Mark Brooks piece whatsoever. Most figures are all the same head size. That means that they're roughly around standing and butting up against one another like a class photo. And this isn't just this composition. I mean, he notoriously does this like on most of his covers. This isn't something new. Now somebody's going to say, well, what's the problem with this, Shane? Personally, if this is what editors are hiring and this is what they're expecting in Mark, sure, fine. But the issue is that he's blaming an artist for something that he's very guilty of himself on like almost a monthly basis when he does his one cover versus people that are drawing interior pages. Now, and the consistent thing that's happening here with Mark is he's trying to make a class system, meaning CG's on the bottom. He's also trying to punch down and be in a position of throwing shade at a group that he dubs beneath him. Why would he be doing this? Same reason a bully in a high school punches a kid in the back of the head in front of a hot cheerleader. He's just trying to get attention from and look cool in front of people. And I guess this is to get jobs from the right people, to get editors to hire him for more covers that are rewarding covers. Like, give me that one Spider-Man cover I'll do for a few $100, but I can sell it for a few thousand. And you have to understand, in the business that Mark Brooks trades in, which is mainly being a cover artist, because he loves comics so much, he's only there for the spoils to get the most financial gain with doing the least amount of work. Because if he really cared about the American comic book industry, he would actually be trying to do an interior book, a kick-ass book at Marvel or DC that would maybe pull sales up. That is not the case here. Or if Mark, better yet, really wanted to be competitive with these people he's punching down at or trying to take shots at, like in my case, taking shots at a preliminary sketch that is not for print. That was never for print. That is not a finished piece. This is just like my page roughs or my character design roughs, and taking shots like that. If Mark really wanted to be competitive and really wanted to pick it up a little bit more than passive aggressive shit talking, Mark would actually step into the world of crowdfunding a book. And I'm not talking about crowdfunding a book of your Marvel covers or something like that, but your new IP, a book on your own. And then Mark would actually do the fulfillment of that book. And rather, he would brag about how well his book's doing. But instead, what I'm fearful here of Mark, and concern for Mark, I have a little concern for Mark here, is maybe the plateau of Marvel covers and DC covers and stuff like that is shrinking beneath his feet. And it's actually decreasing, not increasing. And maybe the gigs aren't all that rewarding anymore. I mean, can he sell this cover with half these characters who are absolutely unrecognizable, with Bishop that doesn't look cool, and dead Wolverines and Gambits and things like this? Maybe Mark desperately is afraid that he's going to have to crowdfund one day, and it's very scary, and this is the only way he can handle it. I do think it would be more productive for everybody, including myself, if Mark just stepped up into the crowdfunding game, which I don't really see him doing just yet. But it very much could be in the horizon as he is trying to pick fights, punch down, and blame people for things that he is very much guilty of himself.
Actually, I want to point out something though. His thing is over-rendered, right? So Dale Keown has a certain style that is not really rendering, I would say. It's more like adding depth to it. So let's talk about over-rendering. Let's look at one of the masters of the world, Bernie
Wrightson.
Look at this. It's definitely over-rendered, isn't it, dear? So over-rendered. But yet somehow, because of his composition, you ignore all these laboratory knickknacks and you focus your eyes on Frankenstein and his monster. So over-rendering is bad, maybe, but if you do the composition right, everything is great. One more thing, Mark, I have one thing to say to you, and that is that you have pledged repeatedly that you'll stop talking about CG. So my advice to you is stop following misogynistic and racist comments that dunk on CG all the time, which aren't even real dunks, by the way, and maybe focus on your own craft. So one day, maybe you too can have a 6-figure campaign or not, who knows? But in the meantime, really just stop obsessing about the women of CG.
So Shane Davis, Inglorious Rex comic book, talking about 6-figure campaigns. This campaign is marching forward one punch at a time, one step at a time. This beast of a book is going to $248,000. I can see it. And from there, are we going to hit $250,000? Our second campaign could be, hypothetically, a $250,000 campaign. please look down below, see a link for it. Go check it out. If it's something you want to purchase, please do consider. And I will leave you guys with a trailer for Inglorious Rex.
Pardon me and my tone. You can't step to my throne. They ain't working like me. I did this on my own. You asking where we been, huh? I don't know where to begin, huh? All this dirt on my skin. I just came here to win. I'm more than a man, I'm a monster. Somebody call a past the doctor. I got a 6 cents for a prostate, so now I'm coming for the whole roster. It's not a game, why you playing with me? You could double back, lose track, try and hang with me. It must be in my veins, something you can't tame, cause I break the chains. Can't control me. I got the power.